right, we'll go ahead and get started. Reminder, no recordings during the press conference. Make sure to silence all cell phones and electronic devices, and make sure to give your name and affiliation whenever you ask a question. We're joined by Texas head coach Mike White and players Jolie Mitchell and Katie Stewart. Coach White will give a statement. We'll go to questions just for players. Players will leave, and then questions just for Coach White. See if you have an opening statement.
Yeah, sure. Obviously, we started off on the wrong foot tonight. Got down 2-0 straight away. Hats off to Oklahoma for creating that pressure straight away, and then, of course, Maxwell threw very well throughout the game. We are a little bit too late for us, but we got to see some pitches and score some runs there, so we took something away from that. Obviously, Mia Scott had a nice home run, kind of made it close 2-1, but really, we weren't good in all phases of the game. It was good as well. I shouldn't say good, but we weren't good enough. We didn't play well to be able to hold them down. So, but fortunately, we got one more shot at it. So,
all right, questions for players? Okay, we'll go front row right.
Katie, it's your first time here being a freshman. What was the atmosphere like playing a really good team in front of their, home crowd and the biggest of stages? What was it like out there?
We got a taste of it in the Big 12 tournament, being in all their fans here. So it was a little bit different, but just kind of staying within ourselves and reminding ourselves that it's just the game that we're playing, and listening to the fans is only going to hurt us. So, just kind of remembering that, I feel like it's going to be important for the next games to come.
All right, we'll go front row left.
Brady Vernon, Softball America. Just for either one of you, just with dropping the series opener in the regular season and coming back and winning those two games, how big is that for you guys to just kind of fall back on and knowing that you can do this?
I think that we've done a good job of shifting the momentum. We've done it, OU regular season series and then against A&M in the Super Regional. We're a tough team, so I think that as long as we stick together and put our heads together, do the job, we'll be just fine the next two games.
All right, more questions for players? Okay, we'll go front row right to Kirk.
Kirk Bowles from the Austin American. For both of you, I know neither one of you struck out or anything, but it just seemed like a lot of your teammates were chasing pitches out of the strike zone. Is that accurate, and what was it about Kelly that made her so effective in doing that?
Yeah, I think we were expanding our zone because our game plan was different than what she was throwing, and so we really were executing as well as we would hope. So just kind of reminding ourselves to stay with the game plan and staying within the zone. And she was throwing a good game. She was spotting her pitches and we were chasing. So just kind of bouncing back off of that.
I'd have to agree. I think that we got a little out of our wits there in the middle of the game, and I think that we were taking too many good pitches and swinging at the ones that were out of the zone. So she was able to expand. I think we just have to stick to our plan.
More questions for players? Anybody? All right, we'll go front row right again to Kirk.
I know you two haven't been here for much of it, but OU has been obviously a dominant program. Do you feel in any way that they're an intimidating force and it gets in your heads or not?
We have a lot of respect for them. We talked about that in our post-game meeting. You just have to respect the opponent. It's not necessarily that we're intimidated by them. I think it's just that we have to stick within ourselves. We don't need to worry about anything else. It's just the game of softball. We have to play Texas softball.
Yeah, I think, like she said, we got a lot of respect for them, and I think that just made us put a lot of pressure on ourselves to succeed and execute. And so just remembering that we're a good team also and that we're meant to be here, I think, is going to be important to remember as we go see them again tomorrow.
All right, we'll go third row on the right side.
Back here, hi, Jana Bardall with The Athletic. Obviously, your pitching has been really elite in this World Series, but maybe today, had a little bit of a rough start. You really had the bats going. How do you guys as a team come together on the other side and try to pick up the slack when the pitchers maybe are having not their best day?
It's always a team effort. I had to pull Tegan aside and was like, hey, it's fine. Just one bad inning, and then, it snowballed a little bit there. But we have to do our job individually and as a team together. So, again, we got away from our plan, and we were helping ourselves. So, again, we really need to stick to our plan and just play Texas softball.
Yeah, and then, like she said, sticking to our game plan and playing how we've been playing and just, leaning on each other. That first inning, we could have been on our own little islands, and everybody just could have been all distant, but like every time we got off of defense, we had to remind each other like stick together, we're not on our own island, and like to lean on each other. I feel like that helped us towards the 6th inning when we started to score more runs as we were passing the bat and leaning on each other, and not just hoping one person's gonna, save the game and all that.
More questions for players? All right, thank you, players. Questions for Coach White? Okay, we'll go second row on the right.
Coach, can you kind of talk about the experience factor? You've got an Oklahoma team that's been to, I think it was 4 or 5 straight title games, and you have a team that's maybe a little bit younger, and how that factors into how you're able to respond when you go down early.
Yeah, I guess we just got to, like the lady said, we got to take off of our efforts earlier in the season. Being down with our backs against the wall a couple of times in early series games, and just do better job. Like the key there was we did start expanding the strike zone and started chasing. You get someone with the caliber of Kelly Maxwell, it makes it extremely difficult to be able to score enough runs to be able to overcome the deficit we had. But we've got to come out and control the game a little bit better in the first innings. Obviously, it's a rough start for our freshmen. But I'm hoping that she learns from that, and we'll be better for it in the future.
All right, we'll go front row left now.
Could you kind of go into what the strategy was with using all 4 pitchers and what may have gone wrong for Tegan tonight?
Yeah, obviously Tegan was our hot hand. If I hadn't started her and when somebody else had given up the runs, I'd say, why didn't I start Tegan? So you have the luxury of sitting in the armchair there and making those decisions. But it is like, you ride the horse that got you there. So, why did they start Kelly Maxwell? They could have started somebody else, we just didn't execute very well, or the pitchers didn't. We have to go back and look at that tape. Obviously, they were hunting pitches. We know they hunt. They look for certain pitches in certain situations. That's what happened, really.
All right, we'll go front row right now.
Hey, Coach, Thomas Jones, Austin American Statesman. You have a lot of young players that weren't here 2 years ago. What's kind of the message to those players specifically after a game like this when you didn't play up to what you expected? And then what did you sense from them in the locker room about what happened tonight?
Well, obviously they were very disappointed. Disappointed in our effort and our execution of the game plan, as they said. You have a certain game plan that you got to adjust midway. I've always said he who adjusts last loses. So we didn't really do a good job of that. We tried to switch plans. They mixed their plan up. It happens all the time. It's like a chess match. But I feel like they're, it's like I said to them. It's like it's not how far you fall. It's how high you bounce. And we got to come back and bounce back from what adversity right now. Otherwise, we go home. It's pretty simple. It's fight or go home.
All right, we'll go front row left now to Myron.
Myron Patton, OKC Sports Radio. You think the fast start, how much does that hamper your young team? Because they come out the first inning, they score quick runs, home runs, crowd gets into it. How much does that hamper you from the start, you think?
Well, I would have said it probably played a lot more into it, but coming back with that 1 run straight away was a pretty good answer. And so, but I think the 3rd and 4th runs were the ones that kind of started to spread it out a little bit. But I'm not there. I'm not in their minds. I don't know what they're thinking. Like you said, they are young. They're only 18 to 22-year-olds. There's a lot of stuff going on. They haven't experienced that much yet. But I'm hoping, it's not so much we had a loss, it's what we learned from it. Can we create some new opportunities, go out there and create some pressure on them because it's theirs to lose. In some respect, they have to win one of the next 2 games. And I like being in that position sometimes, being the underdog. We were the top dog for a little bit, so to speak, but were we? They were national champions, 3-time national champions. So, it's a mind game, and it's everything, champions reframe. So how can we reframe from this loss or what we're facing right now and come out and have a better game and see if we can play some good softball?
All right, we'll go front row right now to Kirk.
Obviously, Reese seems to be pressing and seemed like it's kind of spilled over into her defense with a couple missed plays. So do you feel like that's the case, and how do you snap her out of that?
Wish I had the answer for that, but she's been the one that's got us through the season and been very steady for us. And this game is it's tough. It can be awfully humbling sometimes when things happen, and there's not always a big fix for those things. That's why slumps happen, and you get people that can't throw from second base to first base, and Chuck Nodbach, but kind of things. I mean, who knows what goes on in the mind, So, but all we can do is address it and say, hey, look, just give your best effort. I'm hoping that she's going to, have a better game for us, and she's been there for us the whole time. So, yeah.
Okay, we'll go front row left now to Eric.
Coach Eric Bailey with the Tulsa World. In a best-of-3 series like this, is it good or bad to be so familiar with your opponent? And then also, I think I asked you at the Big 12, just the toughest out on OU's roster, and you'd mentioned a couple weeks ago it was Kinsey Hansen, and she came back to hurt you again. Can you talk a little bit about Kinsey?
Yeah, I mean, we do know each other very well, and this comes down to tendencies, but it also comes down to execution. I think that Maxwell executed better than our pitching staff. I thought that our relievers that came in did a really good job. Obviously, you asked why we had 4 pitchers in there. Well, some of them haven't seen the mound very much, and so it's just to really give them experience. It's not we're worried about they're going to see him. They already know him, so I don't think that plays into it. We just got to get our kids ready to go play, and that's one of the reasons why we did that. Kinsey Hansen, has she graduated yet? I think I asked that the other night, but just kidding, right? But she's a world-class ball player. I mean, just tough, and she's one of those kids that's ability to hit bad pitches. Pitches, and that's what makes it really tough. And so you think you got a kind of an edge there, and next thing you know, she'll poke one off and then hunt for a mistake. And I think she fought off a couple of inside drop balls or inside pitches, and then mistake over the plate, home run. That's what she does.
Any more questions for Coach White? All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.